Hey guys, Artosis here, and I'm bringing you another RISS match. This is going to be a best of 7 between two of the top non-Korean players. We have TerrOr from Peru, our Terran player, and Sziky from Hungary, our Zerg player. Should be an excellent match. We have TerrOr starting here in the top left of Nemesis, and in the bottom left, we have Sziky. Now, I think that TerrOr can make it somewhat competitive. I think he can play some decent games here against Sziky, but I have to say I do think that this matchup is Sziky favored. Sziky is incredibly strong in this matchup, honestly. Like, I've played him a fair amount of times, and he is, like, by far the strongest Zerg in the foreign scene. In fact, in my opinion, he has the most impressive versus Terran play of anyone in the foreign scene. That includes Mihu, that includes, Boneth, that includes DeWalt. I think he's the best Terran killer out there. He's very good at this matchup, basically, is what I'm trying to say. A very strong player. But, TerrOr, I think he's generally considered about the second best Terran that we have in the scene. If you don't consider Mihu, or if you do, maybe top 3-ish. So we'll see what he's got. TerrOr has... he plays like a very technical game, a very tricky game. So he might have some stuff up his sleeve, right? Like, for instance, here, this is going to be Command Center first. That's an excellent opener against someone like Sziky. Sziky not likely to do any Zergling rushes, right? So a nice little Command Center first. Going to do a fantastic job. Oh my god, is he going to go Command Center first on the side? Oh, he's checking for the Overlord. Or maybe he is still. What? What? I've never seen this. Huh. Okay, so... Oh, he's scouted the whole way. I was like, is he actually going to expand here? That would be absolutely wild. I mean, I'm down to see something like that, but I literally can't even think of a reason you would ever do that. It's like less patches and it's hard to defend. So doesn't seem like something you should do, and he's not going to do it. That was just double checking for an Overlord coming in. Anyways, that aside, looks like a pretty standard opener here from Sziky. He is going for what looks like a 2-hatchery Mutalisk play. And yeah, we're going to wait a minute while this kind of catches up to something with some action, a little bit of drone harassment and everything. Do want to take this moment to thank you guys for watching ArtosisCasts. I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. We've had some great matches lately. Still have a good amount of RISS matches as well that I do want to get through. So I'm going to try to rotate some of those in as well. Always fun to see TerrOr and Sziky play. I did get to cast them actually recently, by the way, in the Ascension tournament. Hope you guys enjoyed that on the YouTube channel and the Twitch channel as well. And Sziky did kind of dominate TerrOr, to be honest. Like, he won every game. I think he went 3-0 against him or something. So that does kind of back up what I'm saying about this matchup. But, I think this is a little bit better, right? The best of 7. Let's see what TerrOr can pull out here. It actually... Oh boy, a couple lings run by. That's really annoying, especially when you got gas this quickly. It really looks like he wants to go factory, and he can't go factory too easily with 2 lings in his base. So this was a very good move from Sziky. Oh man, loses another SCV. The lings at least get stuck on each other there. So he would have lost this Marine right away as well if they had not. But this is actually going really poorly for TerrOr, unfortunately. Not end of the world bad, but like losing, 2-3 Marines and SCVs at the beginning of the game is kind of rough. Finally clears it up. Sziky, though, is like completely on track for where he's supposed to be. Spire is already on the way, getting that second gas as well. And TerrOr is going to go into mech play, it looks like. Oh, you know what? I like this idea. I like this idea quite a bit. Nemesis has some interesting things about it. Okay, here's a few of the things. First off, none of this is high ground. It looks like high ground. The people who made whoever made this map decided to put a bunch of ramps in here that aren't actually ramps. It looks... I swear, I played the map for a month thinking these were high ground elevation changes, and they are not. Not even this. So it's all completely flat, right? Except for these areas. Well, that kind of helps Terran to run around, and there's no terrain changes. You see everything that's in front of you with that mech, and maybe control the map a little bit. You know, it's something we talk about a lot in Nemesis is these side expansions. These are reduced mineral patches, and it's a reduced gas. So they're not full bases. And when you look at it, there's only 12 bases of the map, 4 of which are reduced bases. So there's not actually that much income for Zerg. They have a little bit of a hard time, like, securing that many bases. That's why Sziky is taking this other natural. He's going to want to secure this natural and then take the main so he can actually get 4 full bases. You know, some Zergs would prefer to take one of these side bases that they can defend with Mutalisks and everything. But he's not going to be doing that here. By the way, you can see very quickly that Sziky is getting burrow. He realized that this was mech when his Lings got in because there was like gas already there, but no engineering base. So you can kind of tell that it's going to be mech. And what he's going to do with that, because you don't have mobile detection with mech almost ever, is he'll just burrow Lings around to watch army movement of his opponent. Now, looking over at the base of TerrOr, he's already made a lot of missile turrets, and he's going vulture speed first. So this is why he's making so many missile turrets, is so that he can actually run out with his vultures and try to get some damage. Sziky simply flies over, and I think he's going to punish pretty darn hard because of this. Look at this. The turrets are placed like reasonably well, but not if the muta's already getting here. He tried to have zoning turrets here, and he didn't expect Sziky to fly over these mineral patches. Honestly, I had a game where I tried to go mech where he did the exact same thing to me. So I absolutely understand TerrOr being like, oh man, this kind of sucks. He does not have that many SCVs right now. He did run by with the vultures while we were watching that. Looks like he lost most of them. Getting a few drone kills. But, you know, 29-23. Sziky, you know, he's lost a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. He's going to come back with the mutas, clean that up. He does have this base going right now as well. That Mutalisk Carapace upgrade on the way. We have those Charon boosters as well as +1 attack. So definitely going to go into some Goliath heavy play here from TerrOr. Adding some turrets as well, hopefully preventing another fly over there. And we'll see if he's able to keep the Mutalisks out of his base. And what Sziky wants to do exactly, that's kind of what I'm thinking about right now, right? He's getting the Carapace upgrade, so he may just stay on Mutalisks. You know, Mutalisks can actually fight Goliaths surprisingly well. Like, if you're on 3 gases like this and you do nothing but buy Mutalisks and get Mutalisk upgrades, you can actually kill like a million billion Goliaths. Eventually, the Goliaths can hit a critical mass where it gets really, really hard to engage them, and you definitely do want to switch into something else. But any early move out can be dominated by the Mutalisks. Now, looking at TerrOr's base, he is getting his starport, so he is going to go up most likely into Science Facility and continue upgrades. There is a possibility that he tries to go Valkyrie. I've seen, it's rare, but I've seen a few people try out getting Valkyrie with Goliaths. I think it's actually a very, like, weak move. Both of them are utilizing gas. Both of them are primarily anti-air units. It's like you're really looking for your opponent to be all in. If they switch over to Hydra and you have Valkyries, you're like, oh, man, not very good. But we'll see what he's going to do with that momentarily here. Comstat is up, so TerrOr can go ahead and start getting some scans out in the map. You can see how good these burrowedlings are, by the way. If you look at the mini-map, well, that one's not burrowed yet, but will be. He's got some really great vision of everything going on. The Muta's continuing to poke in here and there. We have an evolution chamber on the way. Probably will be for ranged attack. He is going to have to eventually flip it into Hydras, I would say. Like, again, like I said, you can win with pure Muta. But if your opponent plays, like, kind of passively and just continues to mass, you are going to have a hard time with that. 3 factories. 3 with add-ons. Like, 3 factories is fine. That's not the thing I was thinking of. I was thinking, like, why do we have 3 add-ons here? This is kind of crazy. He already has speed. He already has Charon boosters. Do you really want 3 factory siege tank? And the answer is yes, he does. So we have 3 factory siege tank being made. I tell you, it is fun to watch and cast TerrOr because he really does have a very different way that he approaches this game. Definitely not something I've seen this switch into 3 factory siege tank. Now, Sziky adding a macro hatch there, does have a couple sunks around, getting his HYDRAS speed. 4th base is up. His drone count is pretty deadly at 43 against the 46 SCVs. And 4 base against 2 is obviously not a position you want to be in as Terran, at least not for very long, right? Like, he's going to need additional bases and or to attack and get something done. I can't imagine really attacking and get something done at the moment, though. That doesn't seem super likely. Like, he's been on 3 factories for so long. And he goes up to 5 tanks. He has only 5 Goliaths. He is getting a vessel. Plus 2 vehicle weapons is on the way. Okay, that's... I mean, there's things going on for TerrOr, but it definitely doesn't look like he's lining up his attack. It looks like he's lining up a big macro game here. Now, one thing I also want to talk about for Terran versus Zerg, you know, a lot of times when I'm casting Terran versus Zerg, it's bio against Zerg, right? And we talk about how 4 gases is really crucial for Zerg. At 4 gases, you can actually go like Defiler and Ultra, for instance, right? You can get off just Defiler Lurker and really start pumping out compositions that can win the game instead of just defend. So one thing to mention is it's not the same math against mech. Okay, first off, you can see these mutas are going to end up killing off these Goliaths. So that's a bit annoying there for TerrOr. Trying to make a missile turret here. Bringing up some more Goliaths as well to help out. But yeah, against mech, like the 4 gas doesn't give you any sort of magical freedom like it does against bio. You know, gas can still be important, but minerals are actually really important against mech as well. You just kind of have to have lots and lots and lots of units. There are a few different ways you can try to play against mech. There are tech switches where you like kind of wait and see, did I reduce the Goliath count a lot? Okay, let's go back into Mutalisks, right? There are drop plays where you just go mass drop and try to drop their main base once they move out and slow them down like that. You can try to just mass up units, but that generally is the weakest way to go about it because siege tanks get so effective. And one of the scarier ways is when you go mass queen. We may see eventually a queen's nest go down and some queen upgrades. Because, you know, if you get broodling and you get a lot of broodlings and you start broodlinging tanks, well, that really puts a timer on Terran where they have to kill you pretty quickly because your cost efficiency goes through the roof at that point. You know, a queen costs less than a siege tank and then it kills one. And then 3 minutes later it has enough energy to kill another one. So, you know, you just, over time, you can absolutely grind someone down with broodling. Now, Sziky is busting through these eggs. This is actually a really important moment for TerrOr. He has to defend this base. This base is incredibly important to him. Like, once he has this base up, he's going to have enough gas to really do everything that he wants to do, because it seems like he wants vessels, he wants upgrades, he wants tanks and Goliaths. And with all that, like, that costs a hell of a lot of gas. So he is setting up a little bit. Honestly, I would like to see him open up these eggs and kind of like take over this area, right? Then he can support this base if need be, but also has a possibility to attack down here or attack down here. We'll see if he does end up opening that up. 9 queens on the way, by the way. Okay, there's the broodling upgrade, and 9 queens going to be hatched, right? So it, like, Sziky has looked at this moment and said, you know what, I have time. Basically 2 minutes after the queen comes out, it's going to have a broodling available. It's a lot of mana. It's 150, and basically when units start out, they have about 50 energy. It takes about a minute for 50 energy to be generated by a unit in the game. So, yeah. Oh, he actually just closes it. Okay. That's not what I was expecting. Because he killed the eggs first, right? So I'm like, oh, maybe he's going to try and attack in here. But it looks like he closes it off. He says, you know what? I just don't want you attacking my main base on such a free path. That would be really hard to defend. He's definitely right about that. A lot of Hydras in the center of the map at the moment. Muta's just kind of denying this space. Going to be a little bit annoying to get in there, push them out, and get a command center up. 4 more factories coming up for TerrOr. But I think the main issue here is now that we have a bunch of queens out, which, by the way, you always hide them in a location like this. Like, it's funny because you never keep them in the main base. You want them somewhere your opponent will never scan, which actually gets Terran to scan locations like this. It's like a funny back and forth. But these queens being out put a little bit of a clock on onto Terror, right? Because, like, basically every 3 minutes, once you start queens, every 3 minutes, you're losing a bunch of tanks. And that becomes an issue extremely quickly. Now, he does knock down these geysers, so he's decided, you know what, this is good enough. We're set. I think he's right, because this was killed off. Like, you would need a massive drop to come in here and disable this. And, you know, since it's like a reduced mineral and gas base, is that actually worthwhile? All right, one thing also, you know, this game, it's funny. I feel like I can teach so much about mech because they're both taking such a laid-back approach. Not a laid-back, but they're both powering like insane. So there is the possibility you get EMP to try to stop queens that way. Just want to throw that out there. Queens sometimes clump up as they come in, especially if you clone them from far away. So that could be an option. 7 more queens are on the way, so he's going to have 16 queens out, which means he's going to get rid of basically 1,600 gas from Terran on a consistent basis, right? That's what he's looking to do. Easier said than done, of course. But that's going to be scary when he actually comes across the map to do it. Now, Consume on the way, getting Defilers ready. Looks like Terror going to get set up here. Oh, that's an excellent defense matrix, and you can see that the mass Hydra approach, not that good. The queens come in and start to get some broodlings. Okay, there you go. There you go. Pops a bunch of the tanks there. The Goliaths, though, with excellent upgrades, actually still will trade reasonably well against these Hydralisks. Honestly, I want to see him bring all of his units here. Yeah, he's actually just having some problems with the AI, but finally gets those tanks forward a little bit. Will be able to clean out through this. Radiates a queen there, but unfortunately still gets its broodling off. And now our siege tank count is so low for Terror. Only 2 siege tanks remain. Both sides losing a ton of supply, to be sure. But can you actually like get your attack together and go across the map now as Terror with so few siege tanks? I think that's the big question. Now, Hydra's coming out from Sziky. He's really rallying from all of his bases right now. He does throw up a couple more, by the way. The Hydra's coming in. Yeah, only 2 siege tanks. This is becoming very difficult for Terror, despite the fact he has +3 attack. And in fact, even going to lose his vessels, unfortunately. Has to back up. Man, this is not a position I would want to play. That is for sure. He's still got an okay economy, but it's going to start running out very quickly. Very quickly, all over the place at once. The siege tank count is growing once again, but don't forget we had a bunch more queens made. And in fact, in about 10 seconds, they're going to be ready for broodlings. So we're going to have 7 more tanks popping. He's got 6 tanks right now. Not good signs. Not good signs. These are the end times here for Terror. Sziky, you know, the right play for him is to kind of sit here for a moment, get his broodlings off, and then make sure there's no more bases. And I think that's going to be relatively easy for him to do. Queens come up into a more forward position. Hydra's moving across the map a bit. He does have Consume, and he does have Plague, so can utilize those spells now. Catches a few Hydras out here in the middle. You know, Vultures actually do okay against smaller numbers of Hydras. Pops those relatively easily. Queen's ready. All right, going to attack in with those Hydras, bring the Queens up as well. And, I mean, these siege tanks are just going to pop so quickly. Look at that. The Broodlings absolutely dominating them. Even the Broodlings collecting some of those mines, setting those off so he doesn't have to worry about them with his Hydras as well. Really kind of a dominating game here and dominating position from Sziky. Even from the get-go, doing a good job. His first 2 Lings getting in and causing some problems. His first Muta run in, doing a good job with some harassment as well. You know, Terror has set up this base. He's still making siege tanks. He's still got some supply. His upgrades are phenomenal. But is he ever going to hit the critical mass to push, right? Mech is really about getting enough units out that you become really cost efficient. These smaller armies, really not as efficient. You need to be able to, like, obliterate your opponent's entire army, and I just don't think he's going to be able to do that here. Sziky attacking in once again. Barely even any upgrades on these Zerglings, but just kind of tanking some damage. Has some Overlords loaded up. No units here to help out, so even though he's being a little bit wasteful with that, perhaps, this drop onto the 4th base going to be deadly. Look, out of minerals, getting very, very low. This base, incredibly important. In fact, he brings a queen up because he wants he wants to it fast. And he doesn't get it. It gets repaired out of range, so the queen pops out again. That's funny. Not a bad move, though. Honestly, I think this should be utilized more often. The infest, you know, sometimes it gets low and you're able to just steal it quickly in a situation where you wouldn't be able to kill it. Look, he tries to go in again, but it was irradiated. Okay, he actually gets it. Radiated Queen pops out. And... well, that's, that does it for you. The 4th base has been killed. And I'm trying to figure out, like, if you're playing this game as Terran, how do you come back? But honestly, you really don't. Sziky has everything. Like, he is out of control. No drones up here to take these bases, but he doesn't really need it. The TerrOr is, like, barely mining at this point. Everything is going to be dried up. And looks like he's going to throw down some Dark Swarms. This should be the finishing move here. And, well, this is kind of funny because, like, the ranged attack of the HYDRAS doesn't hit under there, so we're waiting for a +0 Zergling to cut through +2 armor tanks. And it's just, like, taking forever at that point. That's not how Dark Storm works. It's not just for Zerg. All right. Looks like... oh, the Broodling gets the tank! That's value right there. You Broodling one tank, and the Broodlings kill another tank. TerrOr right now trying to control the map. He's trying to push back out, right? Lay some mines down and everything. Up comes some more queens, though. Honestly, I think we're going to see GG from TerrOr here any minute. Just one more attack should end up killing him as well. Some Mutalisks being made as the gas that TerrOr has goes more and more towards siege tanks. There's going to be fewer Goliaths. So that is that tech switch. He's kind of used everything. He's used queens, he's used Dark Swarm, he's used drops, and now he's using the Mutalisk tech switch. Sziky using every tool at his disposal here to try to take down TerrOr. Now the Mute is going to fly up and around. There's only a single missile turret at this base, so that's going to be taken out once again. He does have a couple of radiates, so that's nice. Oh, going to target that down maybe before it gets an irradiate off. Oh, very, very unfortunate there. GG, Sziky wins game number 1.